We are back. We are here today with Jay Tips.
Yeah.
New York in the house. Jay has forged his own path within the fashion industry, starting out. What do you think? I'm not from New York?
You my people say.
Jay has forged his own path within the fashion industry, starting out as a self-proclaimed musician, sneakerhead. He always had a passion for all things creative. We're excited to talk to him today and find out more about how he broke in to the fashion industry, how he really made it happen for himself, and legendary. So I'm gonna actually pass it over to P because this is your guest. You brought Jay here.
Yeah. So listen, New York, Uptown link up. Back in the days when I was like fresh out of school, I was doing the radio, Uptown Plug, PJ, LA Talk Radio, and I hit up Jay Tips. Everybody, he was buzzing. And, you know what I'm saying? He do a lot of shit, and the songs was crazy, the album covers was crazy, just the whole vibes was crazy. And then I fuck with people in New York, so I had to bring him through. And he pulled up, you know what I'm saying? Showed me love, showed my up and coming radio show love. So it was like I had to fuck with him. Now, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? My man's got girls on with his face on him. You know what I'm saying? He got his own hats. Like,
you just jumped ahead so far, no one knows you're
nah, but like it just happened. Like this hat game, the sweatpants, the significance behind it. It's a lot of fly shit. So you know what I'm saying? I just want to bring the homie through because I seen him from shit. I don't want to say starting from the bottom, but I seen you from. When you was you still had a job probably when you was on Instagram when I met you.
Probably, yeah, still figuring it out.
So it's just good to see a young brother figuring this motherfucker out.
Thank you. I thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. Let's start out with how did you get into what you've gotten into now? Let's tell everyone what you do. I think it would be best.
Yeah, so my name is Jay Tips. I wear many hats, so a lot of people know me for different things. Some people are fans of my music. Some people, I used to be their shoe plug, or they used to just follow me for inspiration. I used to just purchase a lot of shoes, like stack sneakers to the ceiling. At first you think that's just the way you kind of like are a sneakerhead. Like, how many shoes can I have? How much space can I fill a room with sneaker boxes?
My boyfriend is still living by that idea, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got into just. As my music started to do better on the underground scene, independent, just some of my biggest influences was, Kid Cudi, Kanye West, J. Cole, Drake, and everybody. So, I never used to measure myself against other independent artists. I used to measure myself against mainstream people because if you're going to keep up with a standard, you got to keep up to the highest standard. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to sell merchandise. So when I used to have little artist showcases, instead of like negotiating ticket sales, I used to ask if I could have a table. I used to ask if I could have and they'd be like, where's the table going to go? I'd be like, oh, no, we'll set up in the back. We'll do stuff like that. So I used to just make, shirts and just pins and stuff with like my album covers or the name of my album on it. And, fast forward a little bit of time, just what I was doing on that side of it, like just matching the music with clothing. The clothing just took on a life of itself.
Were you designing the clothing at that time by yourself?
No, I was still working with some of the people I work with now, some of my close friends, like, because at that point I didn't really know like how to work like Photoshop. Right. I didn't know how to do things. I just had a bunch of ideas, but I didn't know how to more like put them into like physical things. Right. Which most people have a lot of ideas, but how do you like turn it into something? How do you make it into a product? How do you express it? Like sometimes it's like articulating just how you feel. Sometimes people aren't able to do that. Right. So, having good people around you that's able to, be like, yo, we can, you can get shirts printed over here, or you can get hats made over here, right. Or this is how you do it. This is the file you need because, the relationship you have with like product can make you not want to do anything else. Like if you go to a print shop and make some shirts and it comes out wrong, you will never make shirts again. Yeah. So it's like, I was lucky enough to have a hard head, and it's like if I didn't get it right, I kept doing it. Yeah. I kept going, losing money until like just figured out like, how to be more self-efficient and how to find the right connections to get to the good products and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's important.
So are you self-taught? Everything is self-taught. What made you, how'd you get into all this? Like,
so yeah, I would say self-taught, YouTube University.
We say that on
YouTube
every episode.
University.
Yeah,
I'm not kidding you. Every time we ask someone this question, they answer with that answer.
Yeah, just because my upbringing is after high school I did a little bit of community college, but my mom was like, you're not gonna be in the crib if you don't get a job. So I started working at like Foot Locker, and that used to like pay for the studio times and everything. But when I stopped working at Foot Locker, it was how can I get into this collection to sell this stuff to keep paying for everything, and then you had to make decisions. So it was like, what? I could cut out some of them studio prices if I learn how to do it myself. Mm-hmm. So that's where it kind of started. Carter started with like me trying to engineer my own music, and then it came from like now you got to learn Photoshop. You got to learn because people charge you for everything. Yeah. Like people would charge you just to save a different file, like which is like
just to convert it.
Yeah, just to convert it into something else. So I had to learn anything from everything in the Adobe library to just anything with Pro Tools, just so I can be able to maybe like save that money just for rent or save that money for a flight or something like that.
Right.
Which
I think for us too, like we started this podcast, we didn't know anything about starting a podcast. We're not sound engineers. Now we're pretty good with it, but
I said that
like
she's working GarageBand like she's a producer, you know what I'm saying?
No, you
to make some beats now.
Like you said, like you hit that wall where you realize like this is not the product that I want, but you have to make that decision. Like, do I still want to go forward with this? Something I'm still passionate about, or am I just done here?
Yeah.
This is as far as I can push myself, and as a professional and as like someone that wants to grow, you take that step to be like, I want to do this, and I'm just gonna have to suck it up and spend a whole nother day redoing something maybe I already did once.
Yeah,
so.
You gotta have a good relationship with your why. Like your why is like, what's your purpose of what you're doing this for? Yeah. And I think if that's clear to you, then somebody in the way of like a bad studio or bad or you just don't have the patience to learn things. Like if you always remind yourself of your why, then you should be fine. You should be able to keep pushing.
That's good advice. That's really good advice.
Remember your why. And another question. Cause what do you think? I said made it click for you. You know what I'm saying? Not say you made it moment, cause what I'm seeing, like I know you was always buzzing in the streets music wise, and then you started doing hats. I think what it was, you made them sneakers, and like Nike ID. What do you think made you just take off where it was no looking back? Where he's like, oh, I'm doing this shit for real.
Well, I think I flipped the switch with just that whole, like we mentioned the sneaker. The sneaker came a part of a rollout for not my current album, the one before, which was The Savior. And, I reached a crossroad within myself. And I was like, people say like put in your 10,000 hours, but when you've reached that, like I'm at album 11, right. Like I got 11 albums out of, hours, so it's like, how much more? Like, I did the stop working, I did the invest in yourself, I did the entrepreneur, I did the hit the road, I did the independent, selling shows, selling out shows, empty shows, like I did it. I was like, what else is it? Like, like the doubt start to get loud in my head, you know what I'm saying? So, I just said, what haven't I what haven't I done that I said I always wanted to do? And it was just like, I just had a sick rollout to me personally. It was like, let me come up with a shoe that simulated a real sneaker release like Nike Sneakers had, and like packaging and stuff. And what I had reached out to Nike Bespoke, which is Nike ID, but it's like for premium customers. Like their customers are like DJ Clark Kent, a lot, like I know Offset, Yachty, like there's a lot of different people who have Bespokes because it's $1,000 flat rate, and you can just play with any material on the shoe. Like you can just sit there and I want this to say this, I want this to say that, I want this to be cashmere, I want this to be floral, I want this. So I just kind of just worked, like, I bust up one of my credit cards, and I just was like, what, let me do this, let me wrap it around my album, let me put some marketing into it. And I had that. And then it was, what, let me make these hats. I was making hats for every album. So I was like, what, let me make these Savior hats or whatever. So I was like, when the album comes out, 1 week I can drop some pins, another week I can drop a hat, and then I can show people the Air Force. And just when the Nike came, it just took on a life of itself. It was probably the first time I can remember that me having a crazy idea like really clicked. Like it went crazy online. All the blogs was picking it up. All the shoe pages online was picking it up. People interviewing me. It was hard to walk in the street because people was like, "Where's your shoe? Can I get a pair? Can I get a pair?" But I was like, "Yo, it's only 101." So it's like you're like overworked. So that's pretty much I think when it clicked and things just started to ascend from there.
So, do you think you're gonna make shoes for Nike?
Well, that depends on a lot of different things.
That depends on Nike.
Like, would you want to
If
do
Nike calls.
So my better question is, would you want to design your own shoes and sell it?
Yeah,
Like,
of course. I
wholesale?
think that was always the main goal. I remember being in like 4th, 5th grade, and they asked, "What you want to do in life?" And I was like, "Yo, I wanna design my own shoe. I want to do so. I want to have my own like Jordan brand type
You're always
shit."
a creative.
Yeah, so
Like
that was always where I wanted to be. Like I always was to me, I think I have like social anxiety, so sometimes it comforts me to like look down at my shoes.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, like to know what I'm wearing and stuff like that. I feel like I fit in sometimes better in the room if I'm fly.
To bounce back a sec, so you talked about when you started making hats, it was to match your albums.
Yeah.
At that time, were you making them yourself? How did you actually start making hats? Were you going
No,
full production or?
No, I was going to like lids or like one of my boys had was crazy. One of my boys he was making embroidery for a bunch of stuff, and I just had like the logo, and I was just like, you know what, just could you put these logos on both sides of the hat? So this was for my at the time Volume 10 album, so I had like 10X on both sides, and I remember just selling a few. Like every time somebody would buy one, I would go to like the hat store, buy a Yankee hat, and then go make it. And when it came around to the Savior album, just like my idea was I couldn't find nowhere that would wrap Savior on the back of the hat. Like everyone was saying that it's not flat surface, it will pinch the hat, it will mess it up. So that was kind of my introduction to like working better with like a manufacturer or somebody that could really do it, because nobody would do it and I was hell bent on this idea.
Yeah.
So it was like when I found somebody that was like, I'll do it if you get to like 24 hats.
Okay.
So that's when I scaled up a little bit, and then from there it was like 24 hats, and then it was like 48 hats, and before you know it, I was just places telling me that I'm bringing too many, and now I got to bring 700 hats somewhere else, and it's just like and then it's like now we shipping out almost like 1,000 hats a month, and sometimes it started to climb, but it was almost like I got pushed into a corner, but I didn't like quit. I just kept going.
Yeah, I think fashion can do that because back to your point about putting like Savior embroidered on the back of the hat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess the reason they couldn't do it is because it was constructed the hat already.
Yeah.
So when you embroider things, it pulls the fabric closer together.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to do it because it would have made the hat smaller.
Yeah.
Which is like then your next option would be just to produce the hat.
Yeah.
From start, which is super expensive.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like I'm not a fool. People fall in love with familiarity, so it's like, of course, that's the reason why they're gonna buy a Yankee hat 100 times more than they're gonna buy if it just says Savior on the front.
Right.
Because Yankees, Yankees, you recognize Yankees, so it's like I wanted to do it on a Yankee hat.
Yeah.
So it was like, so I fought for that. But I understood why they didn't want to, because if it's a bullshit blank, if it's a $3 hat that you get from overseas or some shit, if something messes up, you can just toss it and do another one.
Right.
But if it's a Yankee hat, these hats are $30-$40 each.
Yeah.
They don't want to replace that. They don't want to be liable.
All right, so my next question is, how'd you get the funky flavors on the hats? You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like this is, people make hats and they be bullshit.
Yeah.
This is the 50, this got the sticker on the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when I see it, it be saying, 199. Like, how'd you get the...
So that became like my passion at the same time. Like, I think it was more like, I was selling the Navy Yankees, I was selling the Red Yankees, but the thrill of the search became like something I was really in love with. Like, I was going into every store, how many Yankees can I buy? Do you have red Yankees? And at that time, just a red Yankee with a gray bottom was super duper rare to come across. Like, I would go to like 125th Street and get 2. I would go to Fordham Road and get 3. I would go back by my house and get 5. And now I'm close to 12. So now I got to search eBay. Now I got to search online stores. And the thing about sometimes hats is these websites that sell fitteds don't always disclose if it's a Black Nancy or it's a gray bottom. So now I'm emailing websites, before I check out, what's the undervisor, what color's the undervisor. So it was like it became a thrill, and then when like I would say kind of things started loosening up with the pandemic and stores started like opening up more. I was just going into their inventory. I was going into their stock rooms and trying to see what they had, and that's when I kind of started coming across like even crazy colors that I had never seen before, and just then I put Savior on it, and I might only had 2 or 3, and I was keeping it for myself, but then the demand started coming. And then I would go to another store and just see what they had. What some of the hats had dust on it, having to dust them off. They talking about they had for years. And then I'm just like, you know what? If I put Savior on this, it's gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
It's gonna go crazy. And then they like, you sure you want this? Why you want so many? Take it. I'll give you even a discount if you take that many. And then it just started going so crazy that you started to see like even stores start to promote differently. You started to see them like if he's having success with these funky colors, maybe we should kind of. And it was tough because I'm just a kid in my living room like trying to just impress the gram with my Savior embroidery on some hats, and now you see stores trying to compete with me. They're copying, competing. But it's crazy because it's like sometimes you don't what they always say, you don't know what you have till somebody else got it. So it's just been so crazy, and that led into the partnership with Hat Club, and then I was able to really design from scratch and get them manufactured exactly how I want it to be. I want it to be this color. I want it to be that color. And even that, like you mentioned, just copying, like people could say whatever they want about, I seen this or I seen that before. Like when I was in the discussions with Hat Club, I was having to find hats with just a little bit of the color so we could reference it to get it. And now you go in every store and you see those colors hats and stuff like that. So it's just crazy.
We're going to get into, I want to hear more about Hat Club, more about where this journey's brought you.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Let's do it. Man. 1 2 1 2. You dig?
We're back. We're back with Jae Tips. We want to get right back into what we're talking about because we were killing it. So let's talk about, you mentioned Hat Club. How did that come about? How did you start working with them? How do you know that's the right fit for you? Mm-hmm. How does one go about going from being your own brand to now collaborating with other brands?
Yeah. So, it happened organically, actually. It happened where, like I said, me scouting for hats, me going into stores and seeing what they got, bringing things almost like the same way we do, like you do if you like resell sneakers or you're into like you're a collector. You see something somewhere, you put it online and you sell it to somebody else. So I stayed in the neighborhoods because all the hat stores are in the neighborhood. So all these like suburban kids and all the kids online that are like super duper in love with fitteds that don't know where to get them from, they're in the hood. So if me living in the Bronx, I was able to always just go to close by spots. So, one day I was kind of leaving Nike or whatever, and I just walked past Hat Club. I seen it was still open, and I just walked inside, and one of the employees recognized me for the Air Force. So he recognized me for the Air Force, and he just started talking about, like, he was asking me to help him with, I guess, him trying to get into Nike. And I'm telling him, I don't have nothing to do with Nike.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there.
Help me get into Nike.
Yeah, so
if Nike calls me, I'll give them your number.
So we started talking about it, and then the manager came over, and he noticed that I was wearing, like, my Savior hat or whatever, just, always repping. So we started talking about hats. We started talking about what I do, and just going over things, and him just extending the olive branch. He was just like, if you wanted to ever do anything with Hat Club, you won't get paid, but you'll be able to just like, get some hats for maybe your homies, or you want to get some stuff like that, but it got to be like a minimum of this much, or it got to be this situation or whatever. Like you can even do an event in the store. Like, he was just really like, like I'm digging your energy. You know what I'm saying? We could do something with your logo, or you could do something with like a Yankee logo. And I'm like, nah, I let me come back. Let me think about it. So, I came back with like, just like some color schemes and stuff that I wanted to do. And he told me what was possible and how many and a whole bunch of, are you sure? You sure? You sure that's what you want? That's what you want? All right. You sure? All right, let's do it. So then we just started really just organically just building from that point on. And then the world ended. So pretty much.
And then the world ended.
Yeah. So then when the world ended, like, we was just in the crib for months, and just just like I get a text and it was like, yo, your hats came, and I'm just like, but your store's not open or whatever. He's like, you want to hold them for like when pandemic is over, and this is May, like pandemic still is not over. So I was like, nah, we could drop them on like the website and stuff, and I was just like, all right, cool. So even from that point, like I posted the hats, and like literally it felt like my life changed again from like the point of like the Air Force, because people were telling me they never even seen hats those colors. Like they never seen a purple Yankee. They never seen a
neon.
Neon.
What color is this? Salmon?
Me, it was inspired by salmon, but it's infrared.
Okay.
So they was just like, yo, it just got so much praise online that it just went ridiculous, and there's no way we could have predicted that. So of course we didn't meet the demand. So from that point on, it was like, people are selling my hat on eBay and StockX for $400.
Have you felt like that's been first of all, was that your intention to not meet the demand, and then has that helped your brand grow?
No, it's just, to me, I think that's the one thing that, like, I don't know how you can predict that. Like at that point I was probably at like maybe 11,000 followers. So it's just like, I don't know how many. Like I'm selling my Savior hats, but they're selling over time.
Right.
Like they're selling like, maybe I got high numbers, but they're not. I'm not dropping on Friday and breaking the bank. Like so it's like, I don't know how many. Like we were doing strategic things. Like how many homies guaranteed would buy them. How many people that really support you will buy them, and I'm having to really write people's names down. Like I know Rob will buy one. I know like PJ. Like I'm saying, I'm just throwing names. I know PJ get one if he, maybe he'll like the purple one. Like I'm having to really have like those deep down things. So just kind of go crazy, get celebrities hitting you up, and just everything is like my whole life changed.
Got one for you. So like, first off, should be selling out. Cause listen, I don't be on my phone like this to be trying to. You're
not trying to
compete
with the bots?
I can't compete with the bots. Like, we'll get on the website and the shit is going in how many seconds?
No.
120?
Probably less sometimes.
You know what I'm saying?
What was your quickest drop that you released?
I've seen like things be going under a minute.
Really?
But under a minute is like it glitches, so you don't know if it was a solid minute. Like
you broke your own
people's
website.
People's telling me it says sold out, but then I check my website, it still says things, but then like my phone will explode with notifications. So it's just like oh shit. So
it really sold out. Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah.
And so, how important is it to work with networking? You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you got celebrities that hit you up.
Yeah.
And like, for instance, Chris Brown might rock your hat.
Mm-hmm.
You got Fabulous rocking hats. It's important. Tell people how important it is to network.
To me, it's visibility. It's like where do you want to see your items? I know a lot of people have pipe dreams, and they want to be on the cover of GQ and they want stuff. But sometimes it's just realistically, it's like, if you put yourself in the right position, things are come your way. Like we've been in situations where like T.I. is asked for a hat, or like just different things. Like even this week I gotta send like Fat Joe some stuff. So it's just, we've been in so many different places just because we've made ourselves there. Like nothing's gonna happen from you being stagnant or not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like I tell my friends all the time, like you can sit on an idea. You can say you want to put together like a strategy for forever, but it comes a point of action when you have to do something.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you can't go viral if you didn't post anything. You can't. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
You always say, right?
I tell him.
He says that all the time.
Like,
Yeah.
The wrong person might see you, and then they call you like, "Yo, I got 100 million
for you to go come do this.
Whatever. Do this right quick."
Yeah. And a lot of times it's like, how it's just like in real life. You know how to start a conversation. Like if you see like somebody big, like a picture, you can shoot them a DM. You already know you're on their radar.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So now it's like, what's going on? Like, it's just been so many of that things going on. Like, even like Dave East would just, like, yo, I seen you on your Explore page, bro. I ain't seen you in a long time. Like, you know what I'm saying? I need some hats. Like, just certain things. Sometimes you really got to be visible. Like, it's...
How important is authenticity to your brand and then to working with people like that?
It's everything to me. It's everything, because that's all you got at the end of the day.
Right.
Like, can you go to bed with what you woke up with? And I think if you sit there and you try to fabricate too much, or you try to feed into a narrative that isn't really true to you, then you will get lost. Like, it's no way for you to get back from a road that, you knew you shouldn't have went down in the first place. So sometimes it's just, I'm very strong on morals, but in this line of business, sometimes you do have to bend a little bit, but at the end of the day, you don't break. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Always stay true to exactly what you believe in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that my next question was going to be, what advice would you give to someone like you that want to start? I mean, I'm sure that's part of it, but
don't stop
Shut up.
believing. That's a tattoo G got. Her first tattoo is "Don't Stop Believing."
Yeah.
And my man just said it. So
Yeah, I know.
tell the people.
That's why I got a tattoo. You didn't know?
Nah,
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, so I think advice to somebody who, and I get that DM a lot,
Yeah.
is to really just stick with it. Like, really, it'll show, and people see the attention to detail. Like, if you care, if you start cutting corners, they notice. If you start not giving it your all, you notice. Like, there's a lot of things that don't just look right. And people may not be able to tell you what doesn't look right, but they'll feel it.
Right.
So it's like you really have to give it 120% at all times. Like, whether it's with so many things, people may see this and be like, "Oh, but I don't rap, I don't sell hats. How do I apply this to myself?" I feel like sometimes just a lot of things are parallel. Like, just really just fight for what you believe in, and and do it in a healthy way. Don't be overspending. Don't be going crazy. But at the end of the day, just have a strategy and understand your why, and you'll be all right.
You heard him.
So you dropping every Friday. I know you're wearing your own shirt right now, hoodie. Swipe up for this link. Swipe up for the link.
JT taught us. Swipe up for that link.
So you gotta tag yourself.
Yeah.
But so you dropping every Friday, right?
Yeah,
Correct?
I've been like, some of the biggest influences for what I do is brands like Supreme, brands like Kith, and stuff like that. So to have that relationship with your customer where you can rely on them or they can rely on you. Like, people don't buy things every week, but they still know what they can look at. Like, how much if I just scroll, if there's something new going on with me, you'll at least you'll tap in, like, visibly at least. So, I just tried to be consistent. It's been 5 weeks of just dropping something every Friday.
45 weeks?
Yeah, of just a new item.
45 weeks straight, new shit every week.
Yeah, and it's not, it's not full ass collection. Sometimes it's one hat, sometimes it's 2 hats, sometimes it's a shirt, sometimes it's a hoodie.
They don't gotta know that.
But
No, I mean it is though.
Still one-on-ones.
You're
Yeah,
right,
you know what I'm
though.
saying?
Like,
It's
people
like-
that go to Kith every Monday for their Monday program. That's a good example of that. Sometimes they don't even know it's coming, but they know it's Monday. They're like, oh, let me just go to Kith right now. Maybe I haven't looked at the newsletters all week, or maybe I haven't kept up, but I know it's Monday, so I'll just go check.
Yeah, and it's like I try to keep it fun, not too predictable. Some Fridays it's not a drop. Now it's a pop-up in another city. So it's like, people may not be able to buy something on the site, but now I get to interact with them and get to really like touch their hands and take pictures and sign their hats and shit.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty cool.
Nice.
Okay. So I mean, I like the whole album. You know what I'm saying? Tell me how the people felt about it. How was the reactions that?
When did it release officially? Your
Album
newest
dropped.
album?
Damn, am I having a brain fart? My life has been
No,
nuts.
this whole year has been one big brain fart.
Yeah,
I don't
but the
know
last
what month it is
2
now.
weeks has been crazy. It was what month is it now? It's
And we're
March.
in April 1st, actually, right now.
What month is it now?
When did the
I think
Yeah.
it was it March 19th?
March
The album
19th.
dropped?
Yeah, March 19th. Yeah.
Okay, and that was what was the name of that album?
The album's The Savior 2.
Okay, Savior 2.
Yeah, so just the direction of the new album has been it's been an interesting like time, because this is the first time in my entire life I wasn't putting out music from a monetary standpoint.
Okay.
I wasn't like relying on a show. I wasn't relying on selling mixtapes in the hallway in high school. I wasn't trying to get booked for something, or trying to get an editorial piece, or trying to get Double XL to premiere it, or Mass Appeal, or trying to get anything. I wasn't, it was all, the whole album came this time just from passion. And I also felt like it was the first time in my career, my music career, that I wasn't really talking from like a black sheep type of standpoint. Like I had a different perspective.
Okay.
Like, I feel like I've been through different transitions where it's like my early music was very rough. Like, I'm still on the block. My middle, album of my discography was like, I'm a super hype beast. And then towards the end was like, damn, I'm a dad, and I've been doing this shit for a fucking while, and when is this shit gonna pan out? So like Savior 2 was really like just me kind of like basking into the new attention, and like really just being comfortable, and telling stories from a not a struggling aspect, like just being
from the
fun.
bottom to the top.
Yeah,
Like,
bottom to the top type shit. Like I always talked clothes and shit, but it was like me now, kind of, and just having a little bit of more freedom. Like the chains was off. Like I wasn't rapping for my life anymore. I wasn't rapping for my next meal. I was rapping because you know I love it.
Yeah.
And
what's your favorite song
on the album?
my
Or in
favorite
general.
song is probably the Delancey. I would say the Delancey or Top 2 for two different reasons. Top 2 is just because Top 2 I recorded before pandemic, so it's like just for me to have that song to just still be good to me after everything that's happened is good. But then the Delancey represents a time where I realized that I need to go really hard with the clothes. Just in between albums, it was like my previous album I sold out SOBs, like we had like 500 something tickets sold, and then the Delancey was after the Air Force. It was about after the hat, and just to kind of see like a very very mild turnout. It could just be for many different reasons. It just felt very frustrating because it was like my followers are increasing, my dollars are increasing, and my love online, my presence, the music I think is getting better, but it sometimes that doesn't always represent how that plays out into the underground scene or some shit like that. So it was just like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna reroute and I'm gonna really go super duper hard. So the Delancey was the club I performed at. So it was like me, that song was like me bridging the gap of like who J Tips was and who J Tips is and now. So it was just like, to me it was just like that. Like it felt like that song had the biggest chip on my shoulder.
Got it.
I love that.
Yeah,
I really love that.
Straight up.
I've had many a drunken nights at the Delancey, so I have a couple memories also flashing through my head. What is in the future for you? Obviously, the drop of the album, the clothing's still coming. What can our listeners know? What should they look out for?
Yeah, so I'm just every day the brand is getting bigger. And just bigger in the sense of like I have more responsibility to my fan base and to just keep being innovative and being productive. We're seeking out and also like constructing a few partnerships that hopefully somebody sees this in the future and they're like, yo, this was right before that. So, we're just trying to figure it out, trying to get some shoes on your feet, trying to get some more hats in your head.
We need some hats. I
And
need a hat.
Say,
I need a hat.
Did you bring any gear with you?
No, I didn't bring nothing.
Not
today,
one
but
hat?
We still
Not one hat, God.
We still hats come in sizes. I gotta get a list.
Yeah,
I need a 7.
easy.
I need the smallest hat.
I got you.
DJ has the smallest head ever.
Smallest
The smallest head.
Yo, one time I went to his drop, bro. He didn't have no more my size, and I bought 5 hats in the wrong size. Facts or fiction?
Nah, yeah, he was like, I'll just take that just because I fuck with you.
Yeah.
I bought 5.
Let me tell you, he's actually, I know, I've been seeing him in your hat forever.
Yeah.
He never told me where it came from or anything. But when we did this and he's like, I want to have J Tips on it, and he sent me your profile instantly, I was like, that's the hat that he's always wearing. So I think that speaks to a lot of things. One, you're so fucking loyal, it's insane.
Yeah.
But two, like you have a recognizable brand where like the second I saw it, I didn't even know the hat that you were wearing. I didn't even know where you got it. I recognized it instantly.
So, can I do a special for the people that's listening right now? If you need one of these hats, you call me and you might get access to get a hat because this shit is too crazy to get one without
you need a plug.
I never caught one online. I gotta go to the crib to get one.
Yeah, call PJ. Don't call me, please.
Call your boy. I'm managing on the road.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate you coming today and sharing all of this inspiring, really, truly inspiring stuff.
And I want to say, what song do you want us to play?
Yeah, what should we play at the end?
For the end. You know what I'm saying?
You can play top 2.
Top 2?
Yeah, play
All
top
right.
2.
All right, cool.
All right, so we're going to end this podcast with Top 2 by your man J Tips.
J Tips, New York City.
So thankful for you being on here today.
I appreciate y'all, Moni. I appreciate me.
And where can they find you at? Follow you at?
You find me everything. J Tips, JAETIPS. Tap in.
Enjoy this song by him off of his new album. And we'll
Savior 2.
Savior 2. We'll check back with you guys soon.
Yeah. I deserve to be caught side with them Knicks playing. Cause I was caught side with them clips spraying. Had to be bold, had to get patient. Had to skim off the top cause I was chip saving. Yeah, only thing changed is my shoe size. And bitches on the pill wanna feel on the futon. Rappers wanna verse like they see my shit on Groupon. Ain't doing no favors, I'm at All-Star like I know players. Patience is a virtue, I set my own curfew. Same people that'll birth you or mentally murk you. Been dealing with addiction and women and sneakers. I don't got no student loans, I was smarter than teachers. Yeah, fresh off the block, I'm the cream of the crop. She only gave me top.